I only recently discovered how awesome it is to use SRT. Before I would hunch up the tree and spend all that energy doing that, and I kept on hearing more and more about SRT, and you know how it was a lot faster, and you know it's easy, you just walk right up the tree. And so then I was like, well, I can't be that dumb. Maybe I can figure this thing out. If everybody's saying it's a lot easier, and everybody's saying that it's the way of the future for climbing, I was like, I'll give it a shot. I'll try to figure this shit out. So I ended up buying some stuff. I watched a lot of videos on it. I couldn't give you any specific details, but it's just random videos of people doing stationary rope. And from what I gathered, it's pretty much you're just using some like multiple cams in various areas. Like there's knee ascender cam, foot ascender cam. Some people will use like a hand ascender, or probably the main thing people do is they have like a dedicated SRT device. And I think that's what was throwing me off the most, because that's a lot of money. You know, it's like 300 bucks to shell out for one device, and it's only doing part of the work. So that right there, I feel like was a detractor for me. I didn't really want to invest in one device, and then, you know, like with a saddle purchase, you spend all that money just to find out, like, you know, after using it a while, you're not really, you don't really like the saddle, but you spent a lot of money on it. Same thing with that, you know, with buying an SRT device. What if you get it, you spend all that money, and then you decide, it's not really for you. It's not really, you know, your climbing style or whatever. So that was a big thing preventing me from really, you know, pushing forward with it. But I came across a video, which maybe I'll link it or something, but I came across a video, and it was this guy featured a woman climber on his channel, and she had like, an amazing way that she was going up. And I watched her do it, and I was like, how in the hell is she moving that quickly? And granted, you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, efficiently go up the rope, but when I saw this chick do it, I was like, yeah, she's got it figured out. And you know, I zoomed in and was like looking at some of the gear that she had, and then afterwards she ends up explaining, you know, some of the different components of her system. One of them, oh, I don't have it with me here, but one of them was like a bungee, and then underneath that was an ascender. And you know, she ended up having a foot loop, and then a foot ascender. And I was like, okay, so she does rope access work, not necessarily tree work. And I think that was the difference there. So she didn't have like a dedicated SRT device. She just simply had multiple components for her safety. She did have a second line of attachment, and she was like attached into that second line for safety. But the thing that stuck out to me is that she wasn't using a dedicated SRT device. So I started buying up some gear and trying to figure out like what ways could I use this to my advantage, mainly to avoid that initial it's not really, I don't want to say waste of energy, but that initial like energy that you input into a tree climb, and you're not even doing any work yet. You know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to get into the canopy, you're just trying to get into the tree, and you get to the top sometimes and you're kind of winded. It takes a good toll on you, especially for a new guy climbing. And I'm not suggesting that a new guy get into SRT, but I'm just saying, like, it's kind of discouraging, you know, for people to do that. But I ended up buying some SRT gear, and I just recently got this. So my first impression of, I got this yesterday. So my first impression of of this. I think it's the Petzl Ascension. I like it. The grip feels a little cheap, but it's like ergonomical, so I like that. This bit down here is pretty wide. You could probably fit, let me just double check. You could probably, yeah, you could totally fit 2 carabiners in there. I like this. At first I was looking at it and I was like, man, that's a great there. But you could actually do it one-handed, so I like that. And since the plastic is kind of thick and bulky, it really prevents that rope from coming out when you're ascending up. And I've never really used one of these, so the whole thing's kind of new to me. Sorry if I'm not saying things right. It does say that it's for minimum 10mm and maximum 13mm rope. I don't see any breaking strength, but it's got to be like, it's got to be somewhere around like 5 kN, I would assume. Probably a lot more, so don't quote me on that, but I'll put it in the description. I just recently got this. What I had here at the top anyway is I had this at the top and a bungee cord attached here, and as I would climb I'd pull this up, so I'd be pushing off of my foot ascender and then lifting this hand up, pulling this ascender up, and with pulling that up I had this Petzl foot loop attached to the bottom of this, and that would pull up the foot loop, so then I could step in the foot loop and then pull up the foot ascender, and it works incredibly well. Like, I get up the tree barely, I mean, you're a little winded, but not really at all. Maybe the first time you do it because you're not really sure on like the you're not really sure on like how you're supposed to go about it, but after you do it a couple times, super easy. And compared to like hunching, oh, it's night and day. So I'm super stoked that I ended up buying this stuff and starting to get into it. SRT for tree entry or tree access, absolutely. I'd recommend people, if you got like a year or 2 experience climbing and you know the basics on doing like a closed system, getting out of the tree with just a rope. If you know that information, then yeah, it might be a good idea to start learning about some of this stuff. But I recently got this, and so one thing that I was thinking, because that the woman that I was talking about, she ended up having a secondary rope in the back, and we could do that with tree climbing, and it probably is a good idea to do that, in case you want to get somebody from the ground to do like an aerial a rescue for you. But I was just looking to be safer going about it, and I'm not going to be like herky-jerky, like jumping around, doing a lot of shock loading. It's just pretty much me going straight up the rope. So all I was looking for is to try to make the system that I already had going a little bit safer. And so that's why I ended up getting this, because it will replace the bungee but still do what the bungee was doing, but at the same time it's now another cam device that's holding and supporting my weight a little bit. Not the full weight. I mean, this one here is still going to be taking most of the weight, but just to know that I have like a backup is what I was going for. And so yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. I'll go over like the gear real quick. So this Petzl hand ascender I just got actually off of Amazon for like 55 bucks. This right here was actually part of a knee ascender setup by Stein. For whatever reason, I thought it was a little funky. I didn't like it, but I still like the gear. I still like the device. I just didn't like the setup that it had or was recommending. Try not to pay attention to this current setup. It's really just like a mock-up. Like, I did this yesterday trying to figure out how I was going to implement this. But this is part of the Stein knee ascender. This is part of the Stein knee ascender. That bungee is part of the Stein knee ascender that you don't see here. These are just 2 Petzl ball lock carabiners, and then this Petzl foot loop here. And I actually got all this off of Amazon. The Stein knee ascender, the Petzl Ascension, these carabiners, and also the foot loop. If I had to guess how much I paid for it, because I think this was like 100. I want to say this was like 120 or 140 bucks. This was 55. These carabiners are like 20 bucks, 25 bucks each. And I want to say that this foot loop was surprisingly not expensive. I want to say it was like 25 bucks for this foot loop. So that's not a huge investment compared to buying an SRT device, and all I'm using it for is tree access. But I'll leave you guys with that. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe if you like the channel, the other videos. I'm just getting started on YouTube, so I'm just kind of posting sort of random stuff. But yeah, tell me what you think about it. Does this look unsafe to you?